So what we're going to look at to kick things off is an acronym that we used to use in the police called AWOCA. So I'm sure you've found yourself where you've been in a conversation with a potential client or a tenant and you're trying to get some sort of point across and you find yourself sort of going around in a loop. The conversation isn't really going anywhere. We use AWOCA to help us keep the conversation on track. And what it is that ultimately we're going to be asking someone or telling someone to do something. So when we're asking someone to do something, we want to finish with thanks and thank you. The reason that is what we're trying to create is a environment where it's a collaborative environment, and we're trying to actually acknowledge their cooperation before they've even complied with what we're asking them to do. So we can use that to our advantage. So when we ask someone to do something or we want to tell someone something, we want to try and put thanks or thank you on the back of it, and it's polite, right? We'll then move on to the W, the why. Tell people the why. You know, if we're asking them to do something, a client or a tenant, people want to know the why. Quite often the ask and the why will go together. So something else that we can do that I personally always used to find really helpful, blame whatever we're raising on someone else. I don't necessarily mean blame it on your colleague who's then going to go around to your tenant the next day and then get bailed up by them, but blame it on policy. If there's legislation in place, tell them that there's legislation in place. You know, blame it on some sort of other reason to sort of take the heat away from you when you're in the moment. Then we move on to our options, and you'll see the options and the confirm, the O and C. We see these are in red. So this is where we actually start to influence outcomes and where kind of the strategy of communication comes into play. People want to feel like they're involved in the decision making, so we give people options. Now we all know what we're there for, and we might know actually this is what the outcome's going to be no matter what in the back of our minds. But if we can give the client or the tenant options, they're going to feel like they're part of the decision making, and they're going to most likely cooperate with what we're asking or what we're getting them to do. So what it usually looks like is we call it the shit sandwich, the good, bad, good. So we want to give them the good option, and it's important that we finish on the good option because that's the one that we want them to take after we've given them what the bad option looks like. By me giving them the options, they're feeling like they're involved in that decision-making process. It looks like I'm trying to do something for who I'm dealing with, and we do that by giving them options. And then we move on to our C, our confirm. Typically we will move on to confirming if they've chosen the bad options, and this is their last chance basically to be able to comply with what we're telling them or what we're asking for them to do. Then ultimately we finish off with A, and that's our action. At that point we're going to have to take some sort of action no matter what we've proposed to them. This acronym's really good, like I said, for if we find ourselves in a conversation that's going around in a loop. And this could be in person, doing an appraisal with a tenant where you've got an issue that you need to raise over the phone. Find it's helpful as well for disciplinary matters with staff to keep the conversation on track. And that's our AWOCA, and how we use tactical communication to influence outcomes and to de-escalate situations.